my god. All right. Let me open this up here. All right. Hi, everyone. I am super excited for another Travel Tuesday. This is actually the third Travel Tuesday that I'm hosting, and today we are going to talk about apps. We're going to talk about the technology that we have on our phone. So it's not only going to be about apps that help us with traveling or booking. It's also not only going to be about apps that are tailored for the visually impaired, but really overall the apps that will make our lives easier, will make our trips easier. Like, why do we have to struggle and have a hard time if we can use apps to make it a lot easier for us? Um, when I think about apps, like for me, I think I started using them maybe 3 years ago. In the beginning, I was very old school. I didn't really want to use apps. I was like, oh, no, not too much technology in my life. But eventually, once you start noticing the advantages that you get, and then definitely in the visually impaired community, like if you're not using apps yet, you are missing out, and your life is way more difficult and complicated than it should be. So that's what we're going to dive in today is like, what can we do to make it a lot easier for you? And today we're also going to have somebody from the community that is going to talk about his favorite apps that he uses from day to day, which is very interesting because I started downloading a bunch of apps. When I started preparing for this event, I definitely didn't know what I was getting myself into because it can be very overwhelming once you start looking at all the apps at the same time and you're downloading them and you're testing them, and there is just so much out there. There's also a lot of apps that do provide the same things, but one is better than the other, or one app doesn't work in a certain country, or it could be very different. Um, so before we start actually talking about the different apps that are there, we're also going to categorize them today. Obviously, there are way more apps than what we are going to talk about, but I want to try and keep it a little bit simple so that we don't get too overwhelmed about all the options that are there. And also, I actually want to bring back this event, talking about apps, talking about technology. I want to bring this back every couple of months, like I'm thinking every 5 months, 6 months, that we're going to bring this back again because apps keep evolving. Like the apps that we know, they will have updates, they will have new features, there might be new things coming on. So it will be a must for us to come back in a couple of months and talk about this again and talk about what has changed or the things that we figured out, which is super, super exciting to talk about. So the different categories that we're going to talk about today are the apps that are specifically for the visually impaired. Then we have the apps that will help you with planning and booking of your trip. These are not always necessarily specifically accessible. And then we have the apps for travel. So that will be navigation, transportation, overall to help you with traveling. You'll also be able to share the apps that you love. If there are certain things that we won't speak about and you want to talk about, that is fine. You can definitely share it with us. But before we head over to talking about certain apps in detail, I want to give you some tips before we start with this. I don't know, there might be people here listening or here on the talk right now that don't use apps yet. Although eventually we all use apps, right? If you're on Facebook, you're on Zoom, this can be an app on your phone. Like everything is an app nowadays. But those apps to help you enhance your life, if you're not using them yet, like you're missing out. Like we're going to change that today. You almost have to change that because it can really, really, really help you out. But a couple of tips before we go ahead is you want to make sure that you download, that you test, that you use your app before you go on your trip. Like you already will have a lot to deal with, a lot of stress, a lot to think about, and then you're not going to be able to figure out an app and start working with it and figure out how things go on it. Make sure you do this at home. Make sure you tested it out before you head on your trip. And then also, before installing new apps, you want to do a little bit of research. You want to find some reviews. It might help to just get apps recommended from people. Like that's the best way, if somebody's like, hey, test this out. This was great. I use it. Then you're pretty safe. But otherwise, like just do a little bit of research. Like, is this a good app? Or will it constantly be asking you for updates? Or will it be glitchy or ask you to pay for things? There are so many free apps out there. We're going to try and find the ones that you don't have to pay for. Another tip is going to be focus on the apps that actually help you. Like, is this going to improve your life? Is this going to make things easier? Is this going to save you time or make things safer for you? You want to focus on those. And then I would also say, definitely also, like I've been through this last month, going through so many apps. You want to start with one app and like figure that one out, work with that app until you know it a little bit before you go over to the other one. Like definitely on this event, there's going to be a bunch of apps coming your way and you're going to be all excited about it. But there's literally no point in downloading 3, 4 apps and like trying to use them all at the same time and figure it out. Like start with one this week and see if you like it. Maybe you don't. Maybe the apps that we think are great, maybe you hate it, and that's fine as well. But you want to do one at a time and just make it easy. Don't get overwhelmed. It's not necessary. And another thing, definitely for the travelers abroad, there are a lot of apps that are very bounded to also either iPhone or Android that can make a difference, but also in countries. Like currently, I am in Europe right now. I'm in my home country of Belgium, but I usually travel in North and South America. Usually when I download some apps over there and I bring it to Europe, it will say it's not possible in this country or the other way around. So also when I try to figure out some apps that people recommended from the community, there are certain apps that I cannot use here. Like Blind Square is one of them. I cannot download Blind Square here. I couldn't use it. So I have no clue about that one. And then last one, share the good apps with your friends, share it with the community to make sure that they can also benefit from it. Like that is really, really important as well. Let me just take a little sip. I have a little bit of a cold today. All right, I'm going to have a quick look. So our speaker today is going to be Philip. I'm going to let him introduce himself in a little bit. His internet is a little bit spotty today, so we're going to just have to see how it works and if it will work. So I'm just gonna wait for him to come on and then I'm gonna move over. But
I'm here.
before, oh, you're there. All right.
I hope I stay on and it's acting up again.
That's fine. That's fine. I have some things prepared to fill up the gaps if it's necessary. So I would suggest, Philip, that you just briefly introduce yourself and then we can start discussing the apps that you brought for us today.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Philip. I am one half of the Two Blind Mice show, the other half being my wife, Mary. She unfortunately was not able to join us today. So it's just going to be me. We do host our live stream show every other Monday at 8 p.m. Central Time. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do it yesterday because of our internet connection problems. So I'm hoping not to get dropped off again before I can share the information that I got with you. So before I go, can everybody hear me?
Yes, I hear you
Okay.
fine. I see
All right,
other people say yes too.
okay.
Yeah.
Let me start off with the navigation apps. and then I'm going to go with some non-navigation apps that are also helpful. One of the ones that is one of the older ones is called Lazarillo,
Yeah.
and that is spelled LA space ZORILLO. It is based in Spain, and that is a pretty good app considering how long it's been around. That one, you have different option settings, but at the same time, you can, on the app, there's a function that says, where am I? And
Yeah.
you double tap on that and it'll tell you where you're at as far as, location is concerned, and give you an address, you know, but at the same time, if you don't use the where am I option, when you're walking or even in a car, it'll tell you what's around you,
Mm-hmm.
and it calls out business names. For example, if you're at you're driving by or walking by Walmart, it'll tell you Walmart is nearby. It'll tell you whether it's in front of you, behind you, to the right, to the left, or at your 1 o'clock position, your 6 o'clock position, depending on how you set it on the app itself. And not only does it do that, it tells you how far you are away from the actual property. And so if you're walking and you want to go to Walmart and you need to find it and you're like a mile away, it'll tell you that it's a mile away if you search it. However, as you get closer, it's going to do it automatically. And then it'll tell you which direction to turn to go towards the door. And it's not precise. Don't expect it to be precise, but it does get you pretty close to the door. And that's where the other skills kind of sort of kick in. If you're not familiar with it, a lot of the stores, what they do now is they play music at the entrance of the stores. So that's quite helpful. Some don't, but you have that sliding door sound. So that kind of makes up where Lazarillo leaves off. And that one is quite helpful. You can set it on different settings, whether metric or imperial settings. You can change it around from telling you it's in front of you, behind you, or to your right, to your left, or at your certain clock position. It all works pretty good on that one. And that's a good navigation app to have, despite it being one of the older ones. It's still good.
Yeah, what I actually had with the Lazarillo app was the moment I took a wrong turn, it wasn't able to correct that for me. I don't know if that works for you, or I don't know, in the crowd, is there anybody else that uses this app? Are there other people that use it? No? I don't know how you have that, Philip. Like, as long as I am actually following it correctly, like before you start, it's really easy. It tells you exactly how many degrees to turn left or right, and you're like turning with your phone and it will vibrate once you're on like the right angle, which is really great. Actually, everything was really great with the app for me, but until I took a wrong turn or I walked in the wrong direction, it was not able to recover me. I don't know what your experience is with that, Philip.
I haven't had really any issues with that. I think it might also depend on which part of the world you're at too.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect. I know that Lazarillo is working on in cooperation with users to enhance location. In other words, they've got some users that go out there to an area where it's not been mapped before by Lazarillo, and
Yeah.
they put in the information and it gets updated. So I think that's one of the problems is that it depends, I think, what part of the country or the world you're in. And that
Yeah.
might be an issue. I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah, I was thinking the
Uh,
same. Yeah, I just
yeah.
wanted to put that in there. Yeah, a really lovely app. Definitely if you're in an area that you're not familiar with, you get so much information. Like, oh, there's a restaurant, there's there's a bakery and there's a store and it's that far away. So it's really fun also to walk through a neighborhood that you don't know and you get to know all of these shops and restaurants, and it's really great for that.
It is. It is. It works. I've had really no issues here locally.
Awesome.
Um, Mary and I are going to be spending August and September in Seattle, and we're looking forward to it because Seattle is a bigger metropolitan area than where we live. So we are expecting the opportunities to use the apps to be widely available. So we're hoping to take advantage of that while we're out there.
Yeah.
And while I'm on the topic, real quick, I'm going to do a side trip here. As part of our time in Seattle, we're going to be taking a cruise to Alaska.
Oh, good.
And one of the things that I was not aware of, and I'm, our travel agent, she's set up a group of about 50 blind people that are going to be going.
Yeah.
Well, since we're visually impaired, we need our apps to help us get around. So because we're visually impaired, we automatically qualify for free Wi-Fi on the ship.
Yeah.
So if anybody who wants to ever take a cruise and they are planning to use their phones to help them get around, inquire about getting access to free Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Okay.
let me go on to the next one. Now this is one I'm not sure how it works outside of the United States, but I love this app. I consider it one of the safer apps to use, for lack of a better way of putting it. And this one's called Oko, spelled OKO. And this one is designed to read not only the words but the symbols when you come to a crosswalk intersection that has if you're familiar, the don't walk and don't walk intersections. I'm trying to remember how you describe it.
Yeah,
The
like you
walk
mean
and
the
don't walk
lights, like
signals,
with the red and the green.
right? Yeah, that
At
walk
least
and
in
don't
Europe,
walk
it's red
signal.
and green.
It's here. Here is also, but here's the cool thing about this app is this one. It's really nice because I consider, like I said, safe. And what happens is you open up the app and you know that you're at an intersection, but you're not sure whether to walk across the street or not. You point the app in front of you or the intersection you're trying to cross. And if there is a walk or don't walk sign or symbol, it'll tell you. And what it does is when it's time to walk, it does three things. And this is what I love about it. Three things. It uses voiceover, it uses haptic vibrations, and it uses a beeping sound. As an example, if it detects the crosswalk signal, if it's telling you that it's time to cross, it'll do a rapid beeping sound. In other words, beep 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 beep, like that. At the same time, it's going to vibrate the phone rapidly in your hand, and voiceover is going to tell you whether to walk or don't walk. Now, if you're waiting for it to turn to a walking signal, it'll beep slower, beep, 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 and the haptic motion on your phone is also lower or slower, and voiceover will tell you don't walk. And I've seen demos on it. I've tried it myself, and I think it's just fantastic. The confidence that it gave me to walk across the street was very, I loved it. And that one is great to use for when you're traveling, especially if you're in an area that you're not familiar with, even if you're low vision. You never know, you might need this app.
Hey, Philip, I have a question.
Yes.
How does the phone know when the signal turns green? Are you holding the phone up and your camera seeing the signal?
You're pointing the camera in front of you where you are assuming the walk, don't walk signal is there.
Okay.
And it reads either the walk or don't walk text or the walk or don't walk symbol.
Cool. Okay, great.
Yeah. And it's quite helpful. I consider it quite safe, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I
All
was
right.
really excited when I read about this app. But I was not able to get it on my phone. So it could be either because I am in Europe and it doesn't work here, or it might not work on an Android phone. I don't really know. I wasn't able to get that one.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, now that you brought it up, I am an iPhone user, and a lot of these apps are primarily on iPhone devices, iOS devices. So that might be the reason for it. Mary and I joke about it when people tell us, that they have Android devices, and our response is, "Oh, you poor thing."
Well,
I
thank
don't know.
you.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not trying to plug anything for Apple. I'm just from experience. I think they have better accessibility options and opportunities to make your life a little bit more independent. So I'm not saying everybody should just go get an iPhone. That's entirely everybody's choice, but we prefer iPhone. I used to be an Android user up until about 4 or 5 years ago, and the difference is, quite astonishing. And I'm sticking with iPhone for as long as they keep doing what they're doing. Anybody have any other questions on the OCO app?
Does it do
Not
anything
a
else?
question.
Oh.
Sorry.
I was just wondering
I-
if it does anything else than just the crosswalks, or is that the primary use for it?
That is the primary purpose of it. It is designed to read the crosswalk signals, nothing more.
Okay, awesome. Shannon, you had a question?
I actually just wanted to say thank you. I'm fighting my city currently to get an audio signal on a crosswalk on a main busy street, because when there's no cars, I have no way of telling if my hawk light is on and it's safe for me to cross. So, and they don't want to put in the audio signal. I'm like, well, how am I supposed to tell when there's no traffic if I actually have the signal? So thank you. You just solved a huge problem for me.
Oh, my pleasure. But let me ask you, which state do you live in?
Arizona.
Okay, just a little bit of a heads up. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but there is current legislation going through Congress that is going to mandate every city to put audible pedestrian signals at intersections.
We
So
have quite a few, but we have to fight for everyone, and they try to turn it down.
not to rub salt in the wound, I started the same thing about a year ago in our neighboring city, which is a population of about 75,000. And right now we have multiple intersections that are now accessible through the APSs. And I'm not going to pat myself on the back, but the fact of the matter is I'm the first one that brought it up to their attention. And here we are a year and a half later, we got them everywhere. I'm not done yet. I'm going to keep, pushing for other locations to do so. But yeah, in your situation with it, the OCO app, it does work good. It really does.
At least until I get them on it. I'm very determined. We're a mile away from the local blindness center. It's a pedestrian crossing with no cross traffic. I'm like, with school
ironic,
crossings.
Isn't it?
I know. So I'm like, this really needs to be here. But in the meantime, I would feel a lot better with that app. So thank you.
Yeah, give it a try. I think you'll enjoy it once you get the hang of it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Now, I have some questions.
One of the other apps that I want to talk about, and this one is pretty much dedicated to transportation services. It's called Move It. I'm not sure if anybody else is familiar with it.
Yeah.
And if I remember correct, the spelling for Move It is MOOVIT. And it is designed to get you around urban areas, suburban areas that have transportation services. And the difference about this app is it does navigate you along the route. It talks to you where you are at while you're on your trip. But the interesting thing about it is it doesn't just do that. You create an account and you can submit or apply funds, and it'll pay the fare for you without you having to go through the whole thing. Once you like a bus, for example, or a train or subway, you just there's a barcode scanner or QR code scanner, and it'll automatically charge your phone. So you just walk on in without having to worry about digging any change out or swiping cards or anything like that. And what it does is once you get to the transportation service that you use, it'll talk to you as it's traveling, telling you which stops you're approaching, what time you're expected to approach, how long your stop will be. And then if that's not yours, you just keep going until you get to your stop. And
Are you still there, Philip?
I am. I was listening to one of the chat messages, and I'll answer them in just. So anyway, continue with this one, and it'll tell you when you set the destination you want to, and it'll tell you that you are at your destination. And you just, once you get there, once you do that, you get off the bus or the subway system, whatever system you use, and you're good to go. So
I've used that app many times, and what I really like about it is the get off alerts. So when I'm on the bus, it tells me, hey, your stop is 2 stops away, get ready. And then when the stop,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. That's what I like
super
about it too.
beneficial. Yeah,
I'm going back real quick to the question. One, Lazarillo is spelled L-A space Z-O-R-I-L-L-O, Lazarillo. And the other question, as far as the cruise line, we are sailing on Royal Caribbean. Now, keep in mind that a lot of these cruise companies are now having to comply with accessibility. So there's a good chance that a lot of them now do give free Wi-Fi to visually impaired persons that need an app to help them get around. So it depends on which cruise line you're going, but we ourselves are going on Lazarillo. I'm sorry, Royal Caribbean.
To jump in about cruises, next month, the August session of the Travel Tuesday will be about cruises. So everybody that's interested in that, please join us, and we'll talk more about cruises. All right. What other app do you have for us,
Okay.
Philip?
All right. Before I go on to the sort of non-navigation apps, I'm going to go into my wife Mary's favorite, and it's called Voice Vista. VoiceVista. And that is a navigation app, just like every other app, like Lazarillo, but it's got some pretty cool enhancements where essentially you can drop some breadcrumbs, meaning if here where I live, I've got the entrance to our local Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Sam's Club already set into my what's called markers. And what it does is you can, if I wanted to walk, let's say, for example, the Walmart here is a half a mile away, and I have to make 3 or 4 different turns to get to it at an intersection. I can drop a breadcrumb at the entrance of my house, the front door, and then walk down the street, and it's talking to me, telling me what's around me. And then when I get to a certain intersection, it'll tell you the intersection you're at. Well, just to be on the safe side, you can drop a breadcrumb there. In other words, another marker. You write in, because it allows you to enter the text information. So say you're walking down and you end up at Main and First Street. Well, you can type in Main and First Street. Saves it. It automatically saves it. You cross the street and you go down a couple of blocks, and now you're at 7th and I don't know, Main Street now. That's another breadcrumb you can drop. And you cross the street, you go down a block, and there's Walmart. Now you can drop the breadcrumb there. So what happens is you establish a route. If you go to that store or location on a regular basis from your house and you walk, it'll tell you which direction to walk to, how far away it is, when to turn, and it'll take you eventually straight to your destination. And that's a really helpful one, because unlike Lazarillo, which does not allow you to drop breadcrumbs, this one does. So you'll know how to go to and from your home. Same thing is with Voice Vista. It doesn't have to be while walking. It can be in your car. So if you use a ride share service and you want to make sure that the driver's headed in the right direction, it'll tell you, if it's 6 miles away, it'll tell you it's 6 miles away to your east. And you hear you notice that the driver's not going east, you're just going west. So you can tell the driver to turn around. And let's face it, GPS is not 100% science. So there's a couple of times that you do have to tell rideshare drivers they're going the wrong way. And so this is quite helpful. And it gives you, the good thing about a Voice Vista is once you get to your destination, it tells you, not only tells you that it's there, it tells you how far away from it in measurements, whether feet or meters. So as you get closer, it's doing a sound. And as the closer you get to your destination, the faster the sound beeping goes. In other words, you're 100 feet away, you're going to hear beep, 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 and it's telling you which direction to walk. As you get closer, now you're at 50 feet away, you're going to hear beep, 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 beep. When you're 25 to 10 feet from your destination. It's going beep, 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 beep. So now you have an idea as to what, where you're at now, because it's going to where you last marked that breadcrumb. So it's a great navigation app to use both while walking and riding in a car. And of course, you can use it in a bus or a rail system or whatever it is. It's all there for you. Now, what do you do once you get to your destination? Let's face it. I mean, if we go to a store and we do some shopping, it's not easy for a lot of us to do it. We need to get employees help, to help us guide around and everything. And that's fine. Well, here's the thing. There's an app called Right Here. And that one is spelled RIGHT-HEAR. And their website is also www.righthere.com. That is designed to help navigate you when you're inside a building, whether it's a store, whether it's a business office, a public building, whatever it is. And this one is still in development. In a way, it is active, but it depends on the participation of the property owner. Meaning that what it does is you're going into Target and you want to find out where home improvement products are. The way Right Here works is they install a beacon over that section. And when you use the Right Here app, just like Voice Vista, it will tell you which direction to turn, how far away it is from you, and it gets you closer and closer until you find the actual department. Now, the little bit of a twist on it is once you get into the actual department, they can design it to be specific to aisles, meaning if you are at the electronics department, they have cameras in one section, cell phones in one section, USB drives in one aisle, and so forth. Well, the beacon is designed to take you specifically to that section of the department so you can help find things. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to not need any help, but it just minimizes the the reliance you have to put on somebody else. Now, here's another one similar to Right Here. And this one can be both used at home and away. Let me talk about away first, because just like Right Here, this depends on who decides to join with NaviLens in a public setting. Right now, to the best of my understanding, San Antonio participates with NaviLens at their bus service. And what NaviLens is a series of QR codes, and they're specialized QR codes where they use color QR codes instead of the usual black and white codes that are normally used. And on the way setting, what they've done is they put pretty large size NaviLens codes at bus stops, and the information is in real time. You download the NaviLens app, and that is spelled NaviLens. You download the app. It's totally free. That's a great thing about it. It is totally free. So you wave your phone around, and it'll pick up the QR code, and it'll tell you what stop you are at, when the next bus is arriving, and if you want the additional schedule, it'll also read it out to you. And the great thing about NaviLens codes is that you don't have to be in front of them. The last thing I checked, I think you can even be at about a 60 to 80 degree angle, and it'll still pick up the code. So you don't have to be in front of it. And again, yeah, it is. And it'll tell you how far away you are from it and which direction to walk, just like the Voice Vista and the other ones is. The only difference is this one is specifically for for a service that they're going to use. That one does help people get around quite a bit. But the plus side of it is you can use this at home for your own organization. We have them everywhere here at our house. And the only thing you need, and it is required, is that you have a color printer. And what you do is once you register with the app, there's going to be an option that says request codes. Tap on it, and they're going to email it to the email address you registered with. You print out the codes, and you can put them anywhere you want. I'm going to give you a quick tip, though. We use them both in our pantry, in our freezer, and our fridge to help us find different items, that we need. And the great thing about it is if you have a can of corn and you use that can of corn, you can take that code off and rename it and use it for something else. They're completely reusable. The tip I would give if you decide to get Navilance is get them laminated with the durable kind of laminate, because it'll last longer. I've had my Navilance codes now going on 3 years, and I haven't had to print out new ones again.
That's so good. That is kind of like replacing the braille that you would put on it before, right? Or like a tactile kind of name on stuff. Now you can just use your QR codes, and like you say, you can reuse them, which is really cool. Yeah.
Here's the great thing about it. Just like navigation, it'll tell you how far away the item you're looking for is. It'll tell you in feet or inches, and it'll tell you which way to turn to find it. And I'm going to, as a quick example, we have a Roomba vacuum cleaner. And a Roomba is not a perfect science, and it gets stuck every once in a while under a sofa or whatever it is. And we'll get the alert, but we don't know where it is. So I got one of the larger size, because they come in different sizes. I got one of the larger size Navilance codes, and I just glued it to the top of the vacuum cleaner. So when I get the alert that she's stuck and not doing anything, I'll just open up the Navilance app, walk around the house, wave my phone around, and it'll find it for me. And it'll tell me where it is. And sure enough, it never fails, stuck under a couch or something. And it works very well to help find items. What I did is I went a little bit farther, and I got clips, and I glued the codes to the clips, and I put them in like packages of ground beef, chicken, fish, whatever it is that you have, and put them in the freezer. They'll be perfectly fine. You need to cook dinner. You got to find the chicken, go into your freezer or fridge, take it out and scan the barcode, and it'll tell you whether it's chicken or beef. And once you find what you need, you're good to go. If you use the entire product, like I said, you can go back to that app and rename it if you want to use it for something else, whether it's in the fridge or in the pantry. It doesn't really matter. One of the other things that I did with it was my trash can, my outdoor trash can. I put larger Navilance codes on each side of the trash can. So now I know where it is, especially when our lawn guy comes in and does work on our yard. He has a tendency to move it around and always forgets to tell us where it is. So when it's time to go out, find it, to take out the trash, I pull out my phone and I scan it, and it tells me exactly where he put the can without me having to worry about looking for it. And it's a great app. That one, I love using that one, especially here at home. But like I said, it does work in public transportation, but the municipality has to be in contract with an Navilance company to be part of it. But at this point, what they have also done, just a quick thing, is they have partnered with some of the manufacturers. Like I think it's General Mills is one of them, Pantene is another one. And what they've done is they put those QR codes on their products, on the cereal boxes, cracker boxes, shampoo dispensers, whatever it is. So now if you go to the store and you're walking down the aisle, you're trying to find cereal, and you know that you are in the cereal aisle, but you want a specific cereal, you can use an Navilance app to find you that specific cereal. If you want Fruit Loops, it'll tell you it's a Fruit Loops box. It'll tell you what size it is. And if I'm not mistaken, it'll also tell you the price of the box. That's Same incredible. Thing with shampoo. And I love that one because let's face it, we need help when we're shopping.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I would say that's like
Now,
the future, but no, it's the present already. But I think this is
it,
really just for the US. I have not seen anything like that over here, but I'll keep an eye out for it. I'm very intrigued
well,
by this app.
actually, to tell you the truth, okay, NaviLens is in hold on. It NaviLens is based in Spain, and believe it or not, they made Europe more expensive before they started working in the United States. It is in wide use in Europe already. So, so you might want to check into that. But my understanding is they're quite a they're in a lot of use in Europe. They're barely starting to make a mark in the United States. So you guys have that advantage over us.
That's good. I'm downloading it right now. That's one I haven't tested this month. And I'll definitely check this out because this is going to make things so much easier. That's incredible. We'll
Oh,
definitely
the
talk
boom in
about that app more.
technology. Yeah, the
Yeah.
boom in technology that's making the lives more independent is just overwhelming. I know there's some other deals that are coming up. I mean, if anybody's familiar with Envision, uh, they recently improved the Envision smart glasses to the point that is pretty much real-time information. And in that particular case is you wear the sunglasses and it's got a camera and it's talking to you as you're walking along. And not only will it read to you what's in front of you, if there are signs on businesses, it'll tell you what the business name is. If there are any hours displayed, it'll tell you the hours of operation, phone number, and so forth. As you're walking down the street, you come up to an intersection. It'll if it picks up the street sign, the name of the street, it'll read it out to you, both sides, both the one you're parallel with or the one you're perpendicular with. It's getting pretty good. Another one, the thing about Envision glasses is they're quite expensive, but my understanding they are very good. A cheaper brand is coming out by Meta in partnership with Ray-Ban. It's essentially the same thing as the Envision glasses, but it's a new release, so they're still working the bugs out. And let's face it, eventually they're going to improve as they get older. The difference between Envision and the Meta glasses is the price. You're talking about it, almost an 80% discount with the Meta glasses. So it might be something you might want to look into. In the United States, I know that Best Buy sells them. Some other retailers, I think Walmart does also, Target does also. They run about $300, and when you compare it to Envision smart glasses, it's a huge difference. But they're supposed to be getting better as we go along. I don't know if anybody has heard of Glidance. That one is a real trip, in my opinion. I haven't used it, but I'd love to use it. And it's essentially a guide dog combined with a navigation cane, meaning it'll guide you as you're walking. And if it comes up on an obstacle, it'll walk you around it just like a guide dog would do. If you're coming up to a door, especially a automatic door, it'll stop. When it detects the door has opened, it'll walk you forward. It's pulling you along. That one is still in development. It's getting ready to be released soon. We're hoping to have the developer come on our show so we can get more information from it. The other one is, and this one I was talking to Lindsay about, this one is also in development, but it appears to be getting ready to get released. Again, I'm trying to get them to come on the show. And it's called
Are you still there, Philip?
yeah, I'm still here. I'm just wondering
Oh.
if I had lost my connection. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you were
Uh,
building up some suspense, it's like it's
no, no,
called.
no.
And
No,
then
I
and
sound
then
like
wait a little bit, build up some tension there. Good job.
Now this one, I think it's a collaboration between Honda, of all
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
Honda, and I think it's Perkins. And what they're developing is a app that, as an example, you're riding in a car with somebody and they're talking about your surroundings and everything. Well, this app is going to do it in real time, where if you're the passenger on the car and you're pointing your phone around to see it'll tell you what you're looking at. And it uses the AI. So AI has become very, very good at just making descriptions. Refer you back to Be My Eyes.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar with Be My Eyes, that's and let me spell it out for you. Be My Eyes is BeMyEyes. And that one is a volunteer app where you can call a volunteer and it'll help you locate something, set the settings on your appliances, uh, you know, find something that you need. It'll help you out. But they less than a year ago, they introduced a feature called Be My AI.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, that is the best AI out there when it comes to describing your surroundings. As an example, shortly after I started using it about 8 months ago, I think it was, I went out to go get the mail. And now, mind you, I've only been living here 5 years, ever since I met my wife, Mary. I have no idea what my house looked like. I don't know. I know, it's indoor and outdoor. That's all I knew. I know it had a driveway. That's all I knew. I know it had a front yard. That's all I knew. But I didn't know what the house looked like. So I said, I was walking back from the mailbox. I said, why not? So I took a picture of the front of the house. And this is how detailed it is. It told me the color of the house. It told me that there's a tree in the front yard. But here's the thing. It was so detailed. It said to me that the grass is in need of watering. And right now here in South Texas, we're dealing with a drought. So I kind of sort of expected that, but I didn't expect Be My AI to pick up that
Yeah.
much a description.
That's so
Now I
good.
know what I live in, and now I know I need to water my grass.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about Be My AI. Now, let's face it, guys. I think some of us that use like Facebook have come across images and voiceover doesn't describe them. Well, with Be My AI, you take a screenshot of it, then you can go to your photo gallery, select the picture, and swipe right until you come across described by Be My Eyes. Tap it, and it'll describe you what that picture is. Now, the importance of the difference between that and is when you're out traveling, if you want to know what your surroundings are. I've been to we're going on an Alaskan cruise. I was there about 16 years now, but I was sighted. And Alaska is a beautiful, beautiful place. It's just amazing. But this is the first time that I'm going as a blind person. Has anything changed? Who knows? I don't know. But the great thing about Be My AI is you can take a picture of the scenery around you and it's going to describe it to you. How detailed it's going to be, I have to say it's going to be quite detailed, that I don't know if I'm going to notice a difference between traveling while I was sighted and now that I'm totally blind. And that's a great thing about Be My AI. Now, just to clarify, Be My AI is a feature of Be My Eyes. If you have the Be My Eyes app or you plan on getting it, once you have it installed, just do a one finger single tap towards the bottom of the screen. And when you hear it saying, what is it? I always forget the name of it. The little bar in the bottom, swipe until you hear it say, Be My AI. You want to test it out? Open that up and you're going to, now here's the great thing. One, you have the option on the screen to tap on take picture and take the picture that way. But if it's a little bit awkward for you to do that, you can use the volume up or the volume down button to take a picture also. And if you're wondering what your dog looks like, you've never met your dog before other than him or her licking your paw or your hands, whatever it is, Now you're going to be able to tell that it's a golden retriever, a German Shepherd, whatever it is. It goes into so much detail, and it is very, very beneficial when you're traveling because it does give you a lot of information. Now think about it. You use Be My AI to describe your scenery while you're listening to Lazarillo or Voice Vista tell you where you are and which way to walk. It's a pretty good, clear picture as to what you're seeing. To put it any other way, I guess.
That'd be great on first dates.
Sit still. I need to take a picture.
That's a quick way to end them too.
I'm wondering how honest the AI would be then.
Oh, Be My AI is very, very precise. I'm just
It's so
amazed at how it
precise.
is.
Like
It is just an amazing.
Yeah, I started also with that app, and I'm a volunteer right now as well. So if you're calling a volunteer, it could be me.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, and I actually had my first question today as well. So I was super stoked about that. So if there would be any sighted people listening or watching this event right now, become a volunteer for Be My Eyes. It's really great. And also what I would like to add to the Be My AI feature on this app is that you can also ask it questions. Like you can ask it any question you want. So what I used the app for was trying to find the bus station. The bus stations here in Belgium are literally just a pole, a yellow pole with like a plaque on. So it's not very obvious. It's like even difficult to find difference between a lantern and the bus station. So what I did is I used the Be My AI or Be My Eyes, whatever, to take a picture. And then what you can do as well, so you take this picture of the scenery and then you can go over the photo with your finger and it will tell you where everything is. So as you are moving over it, it will tell you like there's a car parked, there is a lantern, and then it told me as well like there is a bus station. I don't think it said exactly bus station, but I knew it was what I needed. So I
Yeah.
get closer to it. Yeah.
No, go ahead, please.
So I get closer to it and I know this bus station, so like this pole has the times on it as well. So it's like, okay, I'll just really flimsy take a picture of it, and it really recognized it so well. And as I got closer, I could take a picture of it. So there were two apps that I was using at that time. You have the Be My Eyes, but you also have the Seeing AI, which I would not recommend too much. And the Seeing AI, so a different app, just reads what it says, but it gives you like all the times of the whole week. So like from Monday to Friday is like a different one, and then you have Saturday, and then you have holidays and Sundays. So it just started reading the whole thing, which I do not want. That's too complicated.
Well,
But then
another thing you mentioned, you said Seeing AI
yeah,
is it reads out the text. Here's a good thing about Be My AI. Now, if you're familiar with using document readers, in order for you to read something, you're going to have to listen to everything, but you want to know
yeah,
a specific thing. Like if it's a bill, you want to know how much it is. Well, if you do it, the document reader is going to tell you this is a bill from so and so and so and so, the
yeah,
account number so, the date so. Well, with Be My AI, you can ask it. You don't have to listen to the whole document. You just
no,
ask it, how
yeah,
much is my bill? And it'll tell you just the bill. And that's the way it would also work if you took a picture of that bus stop sign. You don't have to listen to it all. You can just specifically ask it to tell you what time is the next bus,
yeah.
and it'll tell you what time is the next bus.
Yeah, so that was what I did. I was like, so hey, when is my next bus? And then the AI did ask me like, okay, what time do you have right now? So he didn't really know that. So I just gave him the time that it was. And he told me, okay, the next bus is in 5 minutes. And then also because yeah, everything that is written on it is in Dutch. So he told it to me in Dutch. So I was like, can you translate this to English? No, I even think it translated it automatically to English. And then I was like, okay, let me try another language. So I was like, hey, can you translate this thing to German? And it just translated it to German, which was really great. So you can really ask questions. I did it with currency as well. So I used like different currencies. I just spread it out, took a picture of it. It tells you which currency it is. I could ask it even like, how much money is there? Could you convert it to euro? You know, like it is so smart. And I am so excited about this app because I'm also convinced with the AI function, it gets smarter every time. It keeps getting smarter and smarter. So this app now, within 6 months, within a year, it's going to be even better, and it's going to help you so much. I absolutely,
Can,
if you want to get one app off of this whole talk, like Be My Eyes is definitely the app that you should get. I thought there was a
When you
question.
combine Be My
I have a
Eyes with all the navigation apps that are out there, I think you
Yeah.
get a pretty clear picture of what's around you.
Yeah. There's somebody that wants to ask a question, but there is no name, so we'll have to be surprised.
hello. Yes, my name is Natalie. I'm sorry
Hi.
for the background. I'm actually traveling on an Amtrak train from Jacksonville to Orlando.
That's good. This is a travel
Um,
page, so that's good.
Yes, I know, and it's funny internet, so I've been on and out. But just a question on the Be My Eyes app. How long have you been using it?
I've just been using
I
it for this month. I think Philip is the expert here.
I've been using it for at least 3 years. When I
And
initially used it, it had only the volunteer volunteer option. So as far as
and
the
the,
Be My AI part, I've been using it for just almost a year now.
okay, no, and the reason that I'm asking is because I think Lindsay, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's changing and updating, and now with the AI, I love this app, and I'm super crazy about this app now. But it's always getting better and better. So for me, this is also my top app. I just wanted to give you this
That's
feedback.
great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And also the volunteer button, like it asks you constantly, like, hey, do you want to call a volunteer? So it asks you constantly. And how it works with the volunteers, I just want to add that because I wanted to see both sides of the app. And like I said, I'm super stoked to be a volunteer on it as well. So once you need a volunteer, it will just start calling, and multiple people will get a call, and whoever clicks it the first, that's the call that is going to go through. So actually today I put up 2 languages, right? So I put up that I'm an English speaker and that I'm a Dutch speaker. So whoever needs an English or a Dutch speaker, whenever I'm available, the call comes through. And actually I was calling with someone from Indiana, and she was saying like, oh, it's now 8 a.m. here, so probably a lot of people are busy getting to work, bringing their kids to school, because yeah, she was surprised that she reached Belgium with the with the app. And here it was like 2 in the afternoon, so I was available. And so that's how it works. You'll get somebody that speaks your language, but it could literally be anywhere in the world, which makes it super exciting as well. And then they have the camera on. The volunteers don't have a camera on, they only have speech. But you will have the camera on because you will need your camera to ask whatever question you have. And I've noticed as well, the lady that I spoke today, it was also nice for her to just have a little conversation and just like talk a little bit about how her day is. And I really enjoyed it. So that is like whatever the AI feature would lack, that gets resolved with calling a volunteer.
Well, you brought that up, and yes, I used Be My Eyes before Be My AI came along to set an appliance setting. Like I need to set my clothes washer to a certain setting. So I called a volunteer. They told me which way to turn the knob, which button to push. Well, I haven't had to call a volunteer for a while because of Be My AI. I recently bought a washer and dryer, and of course, I don't know any of the buttons, and they're different than the previous, washers that I had. So it was totally different, and I said, I wonder. So I took a picture of the control panel with Be My AI, And this just blew my mind. One, it told me, okay, well, you got the power button on the left, you get the control knob in the center, and on the control knob, it got different settings. On the left side, it says normal, heavy, spin only, rinse only, and so forth. On the right side, it says this, that, or that. And my washer, it makes a tone every time we turn the knob. So I knew exactly how many tones to listen to get the right setting. What blew my mind was it was describing to me each setting on each side of the knob without having to guess. And it just like, wow, I couldn't believe it. That's how precise Be My Eyes is. And I really recommend it. If you haven't used it yet, I really recommend you use the Be My AI feature on it.
And also there, like with your laundry, for instance, you can ask it more questions. You could be like, okay, to wash my jeans, what would you recommend is the best setting? Right? It will tell you what it thinks it's the best setting. So it's just incredible. I so crazy about this app.
It is
If
so
I
much.
may, sorry, if I may add one more thing, I think we were talking about the languages. If I'm not mistaken, I think they have 7 different languages and they're in 200 countries with the volunteers. So that's very extensive. So wherever you travel, international, and you can always they will always have volunteers. I don't know if you can hear me. It's very loud here.
Yes, we hear you fine. I actually think there are
Okay.
way more languages than that. I think there's way more languages.
Probably even more. Yeah. And by the way,
oh, you're breaking up on us.
oh no, I was just saying I am originally from Belgium.
Oh, you are. That's so fun. And are you from the Flemish or the French part?
The Flemish.
The Flemish part, me too. Oh, that's so cool. I don't meet that many Belgians. We're not with that many. Use. I'm trying to find how many languages. So on Be My Eyes, according to our good friend Google, it says that it has 180 languages. That's all the languages there is. I don't know. 180 languages it talks about. So it would be very surprising that it doesn't have your language. So I'm excited. I think it's great. Is anybody other than I already forgot her name. I'm so sorry. Is there anybody else that has been using Be My Eyes? Does anybody else have anything to share about it? You want to try it? Anybody curious about it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think
And
this
it's
is
free. It's free, which is also very
also
nice.
yes.
Well, that's a great thing. About a lot of these apps, they don't cost anything. All the apps that I just described, that we just talked about, none of them charge any kind of fee. Nothing. So that's a great thing about a lot of the apps that we have access to is they don't cost us anything. And let's face it, it's not a bad idea.
Not at all.
Yeah, it is. And one thing I want to touch before I forget is going back to the cruise that I'm going on. Now on this one, if you plan on going on a cruise, I would suggest contacting Cruise Line. But for us, I don't know if it's happening because we have a group of 50 visually impaired people going, or is that just part of what Royal Caribbean does? But if you've been on a cruise, they have live shows. Well, Royal Caribbean has hired a third-party contractor to do audio description for us during the live shows. So if you do plan on going on a cruise, you might want to inquire into that. That way you don't miss out on what's going on when you're watching or listening to a show.
That's
just
so
wanted
cool.
to toss that out.
That's cool. I'm thinking about another app as well as you are talking about this one. I don't know if you heard of Museum Buddy. Like, I'm not such a museum freak, but I know lots of museums, definitely here, all of the museums, all of them for sure, have audio description and everything. Like the museums here are very accessible in Europe, but there's also an app that is called Museum Buddy, where you can have your audio on your phone, on your app right away, but you can also like check out which museums are there. You can book your tickets on it. Like it's also a very accessible app. I don't know if anybody uses it or has heard of it. But if you're a museum enthusiast, that might be a good one for you as well.
I have not used it. I'm not familiar with it. Like you, I'm not a big museum freak, so what can you do?
That's fine. Me neither.
Hey, I got a question about the Be My AI. I wonder, has anybody tried to use it in a movie? Where
In
you
a
know what I mean?
movie. Like what?
Yeah.
No, I
Not me.
don't know what you mean.
Well,
Not me.
when you're watching a movie and you want to know what the scenery is like in the movie, because most of the time I have a friend just lean in and whisper in my ear like what's going on. But I'm
Have
wondering if I had an earpiece in my ear, you know, and have my phone talking to me, telling me what's going on in the
are
scene
you in the States?
Yeah, Philip, this is Charlie in Houston.
Oh, hey, Charlie, check with your theater. A lot of the theaters now
Mhm.
provide headphones with audio description.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
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 That's
Not all of
yeah,
the movies are audio described, but the majority of them are. So we recommend
cool.
that.
Nice.
And what about Netflix, guys? Does Netflix doesn't have something like that as well?
Oh, Netflix is one of the best streaming services out there when it comes to audio
Yeah.
description.
Yeah.
They have a extensive selection of audio described shows. Here's another one, guys, that regarding audio description. Go to www.audiovault.net, and it's spelled AUDIOVAULT.net. And that is a free site that has thousands of movies, thousands of TV shows that are all audio described. Just keep in mind, you have no video. It's all audio. The service is free. You don't have to pay for anything. You just either watch it in real time or you can download it to your phone and watch it anytime. And
Cool.
in my personal experience, one thing I learned about Audio Vault is it told me how far behind my RP was in control of me, because I watched movies all the way back down to the early 80s. And I tell myself, I didn't know that. But the audio description clarified what was going on. I hadn't seen it. So it gives me an idea as to how far back my RP was starting to affect me.
Yeah.
It is very good. And there's been many times that I said, I feel like I'm watching the movie from brand new all over again.
That's good.
So if you get the opportunity, that's a website to go. It doesn't cost anything. You just register like you do everything else and just start searching for any movie that you want to watch, any TV series that you want to watch, and it'll do it for you. And it's all audio described.
That's so great. Thank you for sharing that. I don't know if you knew about that, Charlie.
No, I'm gonna definitely check that out. I do have one more question about well, I have a gazillion questions actually, but I know we got limited time. But on Philip, on Voice Vista, I've been enjoying exploring that app. Have you tried to search a destination where you want to go like you would Google Maps, and it will direct you there, or will you use it in conjunction with Google Maps at the same time? You know how Google Maps tells you turn left here, turn left there, whatever, you know what I mean? Gives you descriptions.
Well, let me do a little quick history on this one. Before Voice Vista became Voice Vista, it was known as Soundscape. It was released by Microsoft, and Microsoft released the license. So the Dr. Jianfeng Wu is now the developer of Voice Vista, and he is constantly updating it based on the feedback he gets from users. So you can, if you're at home and you want to travel to something that's 20 miles away, you can search that destination, get the address, set it up, and it'll guide you. And if you want to set breadcrumbs along the way, you can set breadcrumbs along the way. In other words, if it's a 20 miles away and it's a bus trip, you'll know where the bus, do the breadcrumb at the bus stop and until you get there, and it'll take you there.
Now, do you know if Voice Vista works outside of the US?
I believe so. Yes, it does. I've seen people post questions to Dr. Wu from Finland, Sweden, Spain,
Great.
China, everywhere. So it does work outside of the U.S. Like I said, he is very good about updating that app. So it's always like just constantly being updated.
Perfect.
Yeah, I can confirm that Voice Vista works here in Europe. You're gonna be
Hey,
good. It's
good.
perfect for a Germany trip or something.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah. Hey, Philip, I saw the podcast about the glasses, the Meta glasses. I went back and watched it. I was trying to figure out if the camera on those glasses will that act like the camera on your phone simultaneously, live if you want to use if you kind of want to navigate.
In a sense, it's making it less bulky. Instead of taking your phone out of your pocket, taking a picture of your surroundings, you just push a button on the side of the arm of the sunglasses, and it'll do that for you. It'll describe
Okay.
the scene around you. And like Be My AI, if you have questions, you can ask it questions also.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I know. We're traveling to Seattle in the next month, and my wife is just fighting the urge to go buy some so we can use them in Seattle.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, one of the things I want to bring up real quick for everybody, always take into consideration your surroundings, your safety. Remember, in order for you to use these kind of apps, you usually have to have your phone out. So be careful. There are some people out there that could put you in bad situations, and next thing you know, you don't have a device, and you're totally lost in a strange, surroundings that you don't know. So be careful with that. One of the things that we recommend is if you're going to use it to help you navigate is get yourself a neck lanyard and
Oh yeah.
drape it in front of you. That way you're not holding it out and somebody can just run by and grab it. It's a little bit more difficult with the lanyard.
Yeah, or
And
something
unfortunately,
for
that's
on
what
your
things
wrist or something. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
secured. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good one.
it is. I mean, phones, usually you can insure them and you get a replacement, but it's not going to do you much good if you're in the middle of a strange part of the world that you've never been in before. Now you have no help.
And you use your phone for everything. It's it's like a third hand.
It is. It is. And that's what I love about it. In the last 3 to 5 years, the technology has just boomed, and the independence that's come with it is just night and day. And I'm loving it. That's why I love doing the show that we do. Is we always bring developers on there to talk about what's out there, because there's always something new, it seems.
That's it. Well, this is the era of all the new things that are kind of come out. So it's so exciting. Like, and another question that I have, a very practical one. When you're traveling, Philip, and you're using so many apps, like it probably drains your battery pretty quick. Do you use a power bank, or how do you deal with that?
We would, like, we're traveling to Seattle. The trip is going to be, just flying out is going to be about 6 to 8 hours. So we do have a portable power block that we call it, and that holds about 3 full charges on that one. So we run low. We just plug it in, whether waiting for a plane or on the plane. So it works just great. I would recommend that, especially when you're traveling, is go ahead and get yourself one and take it with you, just in case, because if you're going to be traveling, you're going to be doing a lot of quote unquote sightseeing. And you're going to want to use Be My Eyes to take pictures of your surroundings, just to get an idea as to what you're dealing with. So I would recommend getting a power block portable one. You can get them pretty much anywhere, and they work very well. Charlie, you remember that freeze we dealt with? I think what was in 2021.
Yes.
We lost electricity about 4 days.
Oh.
And what I did was I went out to the car and I turned on the car and plugged in the charging block in there until it was fully charged, and then I came back in the charging block and used it on our phones.
Yeah, smart. Yeah. You need to get like a little solar panel or something to charge your things. Actually, that's something that I use, just throwing it in there. You have like these little travel solar panels, or even power banks with a little solar panel on top. you could use that, and it charges it also a little bit if you're in need.
What I like about the charging blocks, especially with the newer phones, is you don't even need to plug them. They don't, because it does come with 3 different types of connections.
Yeah.
But you can simply just lay your phone on top of the charging block and it'll charge your phone automatically.
Yeah.
It takes a little longer, but it does work.
Not for all phones though, but yeah, the newer ones do that. It's like
Yeah.
wireless charging. Yeah.
Yep, it is.
Awesome.
Anybody have any questions about the apps that I talked about?
Philip, what do you like of the two, Voice Vista and Lazarillo? Do you have a preference, or one better than the other? Or what do you think?
I would have to say they're about the same, but the one thing that Lazarillo doesn't do is it doesn't lay down breadcrumbs like a Voice Vista does. So it would be given a preference, I would have to go with Voice Vista.
Okay.
Yeah, but the thing about Lazarillo is what I like about it is when we're the shopping center that I usually go to, I'm walking along and it's telling me such and such stores ahead of you about 50 feet. And okay, good to go. But the thing is, once I get there, then what? Well, with Voice Vista, I can drop a breadcrumb for next time.
Okay. Yeah.
That's good. Are there any people that would like to share an app that we talked about or that we didn't talk about yet that you use and you want to say something about?
I just found an app actually the other day. I'm a guitar player, and I found a guitar tuner for blind people. So I don't know if anybody plays any guitar or music instruments. Yeah, it's really cool. You play a note, you pluck your string, and then it tells you, hey, that's E flat by so many clicks, like 6 clicks or whatever. And so you can just barely turn the tuning peg to get it just right. But yeah, that's a real problem. It's a problem for me playing because when I play live out and around town, I have to have somebody help me tune my guitar for me. So.
Oh yeah. Okay. And is it just for guitars or also for other instruments?
Well, yeah. Any stringed instrument, I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Mandolin,
that's cool.
Mhm.
That's nice. Oh, so that's a good help for you too if you just discovered it.
It's called Voice Tuner.
A voice tuner. All right.
Voice Tuner.
Let me go back to Voice Vista real quick. Something just popped into my head that my wife was telling me earlier is something you might want to check out, Charlie, is apparently one of the updates that Voice Vista did is now you can take a picture of your surroundings and it will tell you what's around you. And if you specify, like, you can ask, is there a trash can near me? You want to throw out some trash? Apparently with Voice Vista now you can ask it to tell you if there is one. If there is one, it'll tell you, but not only will it tell you that there is one, it'll tell you which direction to walk to and how far away it is.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's apparently a newer feature that I'm not familiar with, but my wife was, because she was using it when she was up in Austin, and she was surprised to discover that she could do that.
That's
And
amazing.
and the reason I used the trash can example was because she was sitting in a park bench, and she came across the feature, took a picture, and Voice Vista just described her surroundings, and she found that there was a trash can close by.
That's
Cool.
so good. That's good.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
thinking
getting better
about
and better.
yeah, and it can go a lot wider, like finding a bench to sit on, finding the door, the stairs, the elevator.
Yep.
A lot of things that guide dogs do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? Apps might be replacing guide dogs soon.
I don't know.
Yeah. I wanted to know a little bit more about, so talking about guide dogs, right? Because I don't know if everybody knows, but I am actually a guide dog trainer. So it really interests me and it intrigues me. You were talking about a certain device that was combining a guide dog that goes around, but also you could use it for navigation. Can you tell me again what the name of that is? And is that a cane or is that glasses? That was not very clear to me.
Okay, it's called. The last time I heard it was called Glidance. GLIDANCE, if I'm not mistaken. Glidance.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it is a cane. However,
Okay.
unlike a navigation tip on the cane, it's got two wheels at the bottom,
Yeah.
and they roll along. They're powered. They move forward. In other words, they're pulling you along, just like a guide dog would do. And it goes around obstacles. So if you're coming up to a pillar or something, it'll walk you around it and get you back on the route you were originally on. If you come across a door, it'll stop. And
That's
if it's an
interesting.
automatic door, it'll stop until the door opens, and then it'll move forward when the door has opened. Same thing for elevators. It'll stop when the elevator's door is closed, and once the elevator door opens, it pulls you into the elevator. It's just a matter of learning how to guide yourself with it, because it's pulling you along. That's the way I understand it works. But it is designed, and not only that, another feature with it, because it does work in conjunction with their app, is it is a navigation tool. In other words, if you're at the airport and you want to get to your hotel and it's within walking distance, you set the destination, it'll take you to your hotel. So it works both as a combination guidance and navigation.
Yeah. I'm gonna do my research on that one. That's also very intriguing on how that goes, because I can imagine it probably fails from time to time as well, like the pulling and the pushing it might do. I don't know. I'm curious about it. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
All right.
Anything else, lovely people? Are there any other apps that you would like to share, or do you have a problem and you're like, hey, is there any app that can solve this problem for me that we can help you with? All right. Anyway, I have listed all of the apps that Philip talked about, so that you can find them easily, also how it is written and everything. Remember what I said, don't start downloading all the apps and try them all at once. You're going to be very overwhelmed. Another thing also about a Be My Eyes. We keep talking about Be My Eyes, but I promise you it's worth it. I have made a community on it. I'm just trying to find it here. Yeah, share Be My Eyes. I am going to share it here in the group, in the chat here in the group, but I will also share it in the community. This is a link that you can click on and you can join the vision loss travel community on Be My Eyes. I don't know exactly what that means yet, but I think it's a lovely way for us to connect, and you can be just a part of it all. So let me just grab this. I don't know if you are already part of a community on it, Philip.
I'm not.
All right. Well,
I'll look for it.
Yeah,
Hey,
good.
Lindsay, as a volunteer, are you on call like all the time, or do you have a time limit?
So it just goes off on my phone. Like, my phone actually is always on silent. So it just pops up on my screen as like, hey, you have a call. It's like a notification from the app. And then I can choose if I have the time to pick it up or not.
Oh, I see.
If it would be that I don't have time to pick it up, the call just goes to somebody else. So I actually think multiple people get the call at the same time in different parts of the world, and then whoever takes it has it first. And I was talking to the lady I had today as well. I was like, hey, do you have to wait like long times sometime, or? And she said usually pretty quickly she has somebody on. The good thing is, when you're an English speaker, or even if English would be your second language, I would also put on English if English is pretty strong for you, because you're gonna have a lot quicker response on it than maybe in your native language. Yeah, but it was great. I really loved it, and I'm glad I had somebody already so I can share the experience with you guys as well. And
that's cool.
It's really good. It's really good. And you can ask anything, maybe you drop something on the floor and the app is not really helping you out, and you didn't put a QR code on it like like Philip said. Then you can call a volunteer and you can be like, hey, I dropped something on the floor. Can you maybe find it for me?
Nice.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I really enjoy that. I had a couple more apps prepared, to be honest. But I think for today we should just leave it at what we talked about. I think we had a very, very valuable one. So thank you so much, Philip, for sharing it with us, for elaborating everything about it. If anybody would have more questions, just ask them either in the chat or ask them later in the community. We will do everything we can to answer them for you. Even after this event, it doesn't matter. Just ask the questions and we'll try and answer it to you as good as possible. I don't know if there's any more questions about it at this point. Not really. All right. Next month, let me see which date that is exactly. Next month, we will be talking about cruises. So the same thing is going to happen. I'm going to have speakers on it. One will be a travel agent that sells cruises, so you can ask anything you want. And then somebody else also from the community that has done tons and tons of cruises that will share his experience with us as well. If you have your own stories or there are certain things you want to talk about, you're always welcome to join. And this will be on the 6th of August. As always, the time, I usually talk to the speakers to come up with a time that fits for them best. So if it would happen that it is on a time that is, I'm sorry, in the middle of the night for you or very early in the morning, don't worry about it. If you have certain questions, you can always email them to me or send them on Messenger, and I will make sure that this question will get answered for you. And as always, it gets recorded, so it will always be posted. So you don't have to worry if you can't attend, it will be taken care of. All right, I would like to thank everybody for being here and for joining us and talking to us. And I hope I see you all back on the 6th of August.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you, Philip.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Philip.
Bye.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.